Warning, we are not trained or licensed professionals. Do not take any advice that we give as official doctoral prescribed medical treatment. We only use the name as a means to appreciate cinema as a therapeutic device, not to be confused with drugs, antidepressants, or any other forms of enhancements that you might find in legal states. Please enjoy responsibly.
Additional disclaimer. If the film says we can say it too. So check the film rating, and that will be our episode rating.
This is film therapy.
Yes.
We're trying something new this time, so hopefully it works out.
Very
We're going to be
exciting.
trying multiple new things today. Our recording style is a little bit different and hopefully much more efficient. And then we're going to be trying a commentary as well, but we will see how that goes.
Yeah, so tune into our YouTube channel to see if that works.
Our exclusive commentary. We will see. We will update on that if it works. And if not, we'll just cut this out. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about one of our new favorite movies.
Yeah, which we just did an episode about.
Yeah, so spoilers, I guess, like what the movie is, but you know, we're not gonna do a commentary on like Friday the 13th Part 12. So, although that would be fun. That would be fun.
Oh my god,
we'd have to probably get really drunk.
Oh yeah, and we could go revisit those movies sometime. That'd be funny.
Just revisit all the violence and all the nudity and all the gore and then the plot too, because apparently there's plot in those movies. Like,
whatever, man. But this week we watched Rubber.
Mm-hmm.
It was very fun.
No,
in my opinion.
No, it was not.
This is directed by Quentin Dupieux, I think.
Not the other Quentin. Not that one. This
Not
Quentin.
that one. Quentin Dupieux. I'm getting better at French.
Please just speak French for the rest of time, because that eat blue flat flu flank. Perfect.
Un, deux, trois. I got it. So this is a French director, but this movie is in English, filmed in California.
Fascinating.
So like I said on last week's episode, I watched his new movie Deerskin that came out. Well, I guess it came out in 2019. That's his newest movie, I think. And that was in French. So
cool.
Then this reminded me of Rubber, and then we're like, let's watch Rubber, and Jake regrets saying that now.
Well, I regret it because it was free with ads, but I got sick of the ads because there were so many. So I'm like, I'm enjoying this. I'll pay the $3.99 to rent it. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, I'm done with this movie. So can I get a refund, please, Voodoo? Like that was a mistake.
So at what point did you decide to rent it? Like, how far were you into it?
I think I was like 10 to 15 minutes into it because I was laughing hysterically because I'm like, this opening is genius. And then I had two ads, and both the ads were like 2 to 2.5 minutes, and I'm like,
yeah.
Well, this isn't as bad as like TV because they have more ads, but the ad breaks are less frequent, and I'm like, I don't want to have to wait every 15 minutes because I don't want to be up that long. So I'm like, okay, I'll just rent it for $3.99. And like 10 to 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, why did I rent this? Why? I did make it halfway through, and I intended to watch the second half this morning, or at least try to get through it, but I woke up late and I had other things that I had to do instead of that. So yeah.
All right. Well,
happen.
I will share why I love this movie then.
I wish. Let me be clear. I wish I loved it. I like after the first 10 minutes, I'm like, I really wanted to come into the podcast and be like, well, when this movie started, I thought it was just going to be a dumb movie, but it's actually one of the smartest movies I've ever seen in my life. Like I wish I could say that, but I just can't. And maybe it was my mood. Maybe it's because I was super tired. But like, man,
maybe.
I guess I wanted more schlock. Schlock, yeah. Like 80s schlock, and I didn't have that.
What do you mean schlock?
Here's a dictionary, look it up.
I feel like this happens a lot.
Yeah.
How do you spell that? SCH?
SCHLOCK, I think. I guess I need a dictionary too. Learn how to spell.
Cheap or inferior goods or material. Trash.
Yep, that's what I wanted with schlock.
You wanted more trash instead of it trying to be something that you think it wasn't.
Yes, I just wanted it to be dumb, like Jason Voorhees junk food, Sleepwalkers trash. Except Sleepwalkers is not trash. Sleepwalkers is like the best movie ever made. But yeah, that level of
This was a very artistic take on filmmaking. That's my analysis in a nutshell.
And I appreciated that. But like the concept is, I don't know. It just didn't meld. But because I'm like, here's this beginning opening monologue, and it's this great idea about satire, and I'm like, great, this sets up the movie perfectly. No reason. Everything just happens. There's no reason for any of this. And I'm like, beautiful. That's great. That's what I want. And then the movie started, and then I'm just like, man, this is just too artsy. I just wanted something dumb.
I see. I get you. Yes.
Which I know is kind of like, I don't know if that's highbrow or lowbrow of me, or neither, or both, but like, I don't know. It's just one of those movies where I'm like, man, if on another day, maybe I'd love it. But like today, I'm just like, damn it.
That's okay.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
worry
Please.
about it.
First of all, thank you for validating me. Second of all, I'm sorry. Please share your lovely opinion on this piece of rubber.
Okay, so I'll do a recap. This 2010 film, directed by Quentin Dupieux, stars Steven Spinella, Roxanne Mesquita, and Wings Hauser, and takes place in the California desert in the 90s. From a distance, a group of spectators watch a film being made featuring a tire that comes to life and quickly learns it has the power to kill. The characters go through a journey trying to decide what is real and what is doctored when they don't know what to believe. I think I watched this movie when it first came out. I feel like it came out on Netflix or something. I was with a group of my friends, and I think we watched this in a double feature with another movie that I kept getting it confused with. There's like this British couple and a camper. That's all I remember. And like some people get murdered, I think, unless I'm just melding the parts of Rubber with this other movie. I really want to figure out what that other movie is that I keep thinking is Rubber, but
here's what you do. First, do a Google search, like type in British couple RV campsite, whatever. And then if you can't find it, then go to Reddit, go to the tip of my tongue subreddit, and make a post. Someone will find it for you within like 2 days. I guarantee it.
Oh wait, I think this is it.
You found it? What is it? Never mind.
Sightseers? Yeah.
Is it anything like Sleepwalkers?
Okay, it's about a man who's an aspiring writer takes his girlfriend on a road trip. Okay, Chris confronts a man who's littering, and the man refuses to pick up his trash. And then when they get back in their car, Chris runs him over and kills him. Okay,
that sounds
so
great.
I think this is definitely the movie I was getting confused with. I feel like we watched them both at the same time, although this came out in 2012.
That's pretty likely though if you watched them both that in 2012.
Yes, I think it's like a small indie movie, and it went to the Cannes Film Festival. Actually, it's produced by Edgar Wright.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
That's cool.
Love that. All right. Anyway, yeah. So Sightseers, also a funny movie. It's like a comedy horror.
Okay, great.
Maybe I was influenced a long time ago in high school by this movie, Rubber. Because, well, actually, you know where it all started? Toy Story. That movie messed me up, and now I think of all inanimate objects as things that have feelings and emotions and personalities. So thank you, Toy Story. That makes this movie more digestible for me too, because I don't know,
maybe they do. Maybe inanimate objects do have feelings, and we just don't know about it.
Maybe in like 3,000 years, there's going to be like rights activists for printers and chairs, because chairs are so mad that you put your butt on them all the time.
I'm sorry, chair. I know that you're kind of broken, but I still love you anyway.
I'm sorry, exercise ball.
Yeah, that's really cool that you watched Rubber and Sightseers, and then how you kind of got them convinced. And imagine like a fan edit that does both, like makes them into one movie.
That's how it was in my head. I thought like a tire came off the RV and started killing people.
Sightseers, yeah. So like Rubber and Sightseers, and you edit them into a singular movie. So it's like this movie with a couple in an RV, and then you just cut to a tire rolling down the street.
I think that'd be possible. I'd have to watch Sightseers again, but
I
yeah.
would love to see both of the. One, I would watch it, and two, I would love to see both of those edits.
Okay, so in Rubber, we start off with, yes, the big monologue from the cop outside to a group of audience members who all have binoculars.
Yeah.
And they're watching this
Movie
being made about this tire who's alive and kills things. So once the tire starts moving, they all get excited. They're like, oh, look where it's going. And there's people like talking, and then there's different audience members who say different things. Like they're kind of like categorized groups of audience members, generalized over
Yep.
like big audiences. You know, like when a movie comes out, you have a certain people think one thing, certain people think another thing, just like with this movie. And
Yeah, it's
but
like the
they're
demographics.
yes, the demographics are characterized by characters in this movie. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm wondering like how these people came to be an audience for this. Like, was there an ad? It seems like there was just an ad somewhere and these random people signed up to get like a generalization of the population, you know.
It's no reason. It's no reason.
No reason. You're right.
No reason.
There's no reason. Did you notice it was filmed in like 60 frames per second?
No.
Like it was really fast and like
Wait.
trying to catch all the action, but it was kind of distracting.
I thought that like because I didn't notice it with the human characters, but I noticed it with like when the tire was moving and when like things would explode. I thought I noticed it then, but I thought it was like I didn't realize it was 60 frames per second. I just thought it was more like a fluid motion.
I think it was.
But I haven't really seen that because the only other example I know of is The Hobbit, because that was at like 48 frames per second, and that was like a big deal when that came out. Because people were like, it's too fast, and I'm like, it's how ironic because the movie's really slow. So
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so slow.
While we're on the topic, have you seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Do you like those movies?
Yeah, I've seen them and I like them. I want to watch them again because there's so much in them that doesn't stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you like them?
I've only seen the first one. I've always wanted to go back and watch the other ones, but the fact that they're 9 hours and the fact that people say to watch the extended cuts, which are 12 hours in total, I'm like, that's a lot of time to dedicate. Where I was like, the first movie, I was like, yeah, it was good. But I watched it in high school, so I wonder if my appreciation would be different.
I think it would.
I know what happens across all three movies, but like I really do want to see them because people say it's like one of the best examples of like a film adaptation, and it's like without that we wouldn't have, it's like that and Harry Potter were so not monumental, maybe monumental, I can't think, like game changing, that like we wouldn't even have the same book to movie adaptations that we do now, you know, because of those two series. I am curious to watch all of them, so maybe that could be an episode someday if we have the strength to watch 9 hours movie.
Yeah, that would be a lot. But
Yeah.
Noah has them. Noah bought all them on Amazon, so I have access.
They're also on HBO.
Oh, they are? Sweet.
Yeah. They have all the theatrical cuts, and then they have the extended cut of just Return of the King. And I'm like, why not
What?
the first two also?
Man.
Which I've heard like I said, I've heard the extended cuts are better, so I kind of want to watch them because I like that better when like with Terminator 2 and Aliens, where like the extended cuts are way better. But then it's like that's like 4 hours per movie, and like that's so much.
It's so long, yeah.
Which one 4-hour movie is a lot, which I'll get to later. But anyway.
Yeah, so the frame rate is weird.
Yeah, the frame rate. Yeah, that was really weird, actually. Because when you first said it, I was like, no, I didn't notice it. And then I'm like, no, wait, I think I did. Just not in the ways I would have thought.
See, I think I noticed it with the people, and that's what made it weird. And I think they probably used some stop motion effects on the tire at some points when they couldn't manually push it.
Yeah, that was me for the first when I was watching. I was like, okay, they only show this of the tire, so I'm trying to figure out like where the hands are when they're pushing.
I know. It's so funny to think about. I like that set would be so fun.
That would be so fun, and it'd be really easy to film too. It's just a
I
tire.
was like, I could make this. I want to make this.
Well, here, let's go make it.
Okay, it's inspiring me to make just random things. I'm trying to decide if I should buy camera and start making things, because I'm really tired of my iPhone footage, but cameras are really expensive and I don't have that much money. So I was thinking I could just maybe make small things with my iPhone here and there and at least have an outlet for my creativity other than this and my YouTube channel. But I need more.
I love that. I'm actually feeling something similar, but it's with writing, because the book I'm writing now, okay, so this is going to sound kind of weird, but this is my thought process. So bear with me if this makes me sound crazy or if it doesn't make sense. But when I'm writing a story, it's like the characters find you and they choose you to make. Someone once said that the characters choose you to write their story down.
Aww.
And I'm like, okay, well, so I'm gonna write this story, and then like I'm like, oh, but this character has this personality trait, which could be this plot point and that plot point, and it gets more and it just keeps snowballing. It gets more and more massive, and I'm like, okay, well that means this book is now gonna be a little longer, or I can save this and make it like the first book in a series in a way, and then so I'm just thinking of that in my head. So so I'm taking like. Sort of taking a break from it, but also like going back to it when I have inspiration. Like I'm putting it out of my brain, I guess is what I'm saying, just for like for the day. So I'm writing like reviews for Letterboxd to fuel my writing and to get my writing brain thinking and to satisfy that craving at least a little bit. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, very good.
It's kind of similar to what you said in a way where we have the podcast and we have these other methods of creativity, but then there's still that big one that you just want to get, but it takes time, you know.
So
artists.
We'll be on that journey together.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, okay, so there's a scene in Rubber where
that's what we're talking about. Whoops.
So the guy with the glasses, don't remember his name, he's in his hotel room. And he's like putting his hands in his shoes and like making his shoes march around. And that for me was like the most meaningful scene. Because it shows like, you know, how he's a puppeteer.
Yeah.
And he's making something move that's not supposed to move with his hands. And which is what the filmmakers are doing with the tire, but it's also what filmmakers are doing in general, especially in Hollywood. They are puppeteering and engineering these stories for audiences to watch and be influenced by, and ultimately to make money. It's just crazy to think about all the things that go into these films, the reason that they're made. And I actually watched one today that I'll talk about that kind of relates back to this, but
ooh, okay.
It's also talking about things we can't see but actually do exist, like a crazy psycho murderous tire that could be out there in the world. You never know, you know? There's a lot of secrets. You never know. I like to believe in fun things like that.
Yeah, I do too. I like believing in weird things.
So the poisoning of the spectators. Well, did you get to that point?
No, I did not.
Okay.
You've gone beyond my territory, but please please enlighten me. Like seriously, like I really want to know. So the poison. Oh no, wait a minute. Did I see that? Wait, tell me what happens, because I remember they all go to sleep and then they get woken up.
Yeah. Okay. So the guy with the glasses brings them a turkey. There's like a turkey in his hotel room, and he kills
that was so weird.
And he cooks it. Yeah. And then he brings up the turkey to where the spectators are, and he just throws it to them, and they all start fighting over it like animals.
Yep.
And they all eat it except for this one guy, and they all get poisoned by it and die. And then the one guy, he survives, and he has a standoff with the guy with the glasses, and the guy with the glasses ends up eating more poisoned food that he made, that he poisoned, I think, and he ate it himself. And then he was like surprised that he was poisoned, and he was like, I'm dying. And he does like this long drawn out poisoning scene. It's really funny. And then the guy who survived is just like and he continues to watch the movie, trying to decide what's real and what's not. And so I'm trying to relate that back to like Hollywood and films. So the audiences get poisoned by
the needless remakes, sequels, basically what Hollywood is doing
yes.
now. That's what we get poisoned
Yes.
by. Unless you don't go to it, unless you're smart enough to be like no, unless you decide to say no. That's a better way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guy who survived didn't eat the poison trash, but he kept watching the art. This movie,
Yep.
The Murderous Tire,
Yep.
which is pretty egotistical of this movie, but I love it, so it's okay. And the filmmaker, they always think they're in control, but really they can also be puppets of the industry and be influenced by higher ups and money and producers and everything like that. So sometimes even they aren't in control of their own films.
Yeah, that's true because sometimes directors don't have the final cut and they don't have complete control, and that's often where you get conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Also, while we're at it, a lot of directors' cuts should be released, like the Schumacher cut, and but I'll talk about that later.
Okay. There's this one scene at the end, I guess they were playing chess and somebody says, "You can't do that." And the guy says, "Well, why not?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, you can, but it's against the rules." So that also was very meta in that I think he meant, like, you can't do this in a film or in a story or in Hollywood. And they're like, "But why not?" And they're like, "Well, I guess you can, but nobody's going to like it because it goes against everything that filmmakers have been taught." I like that because I'm tired of these movies we see that are the same over and over and over. I like the rule breaking movies, and that's where my heart lies.
Yeah, like David Lynch.
Yes. Thank you.
For all of his movies except for Dune, I believe he had complete creative control and had final cut, and he's really probably my favorite auteur director because I don't know, his movies just speak to me on a level I can't even describe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll talk about David Lynch later. This is Rubber, which I clearly don't have a lot to say, but I want you to be able to express all of your emotions about this movie because we can always go on tangents later.
I think that's about all I had, though. I just wanted to kind of, all the notes I wrote down, I kind of spewed out in a relating way. So I just really like it. I think that it's very artistic and funny and intriguing, and it was short, so it's like not like it's goes on and on forever.
Although
it makes you watch super long scenes. Hey. No, it's very mercifully short, and I love it when movies are really short. Yeah, I loved it in the very beginning when the driver of the car intentionally drive through every chair. That was hysterical. Oh my gosh, I know. Wasn't that great?
And this was the best. This movie has the greatest opening monologue ever. Probably then it has like one of the, if not the greatest thing, one of the best. It's so like true, and it's so like meta, and it was great. I just wanted the whole movie to just be that.
It starts off tonally one way and then shifts another way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like the opening too.
Yeah.
The ending, so the tire's running from the police.
I did see the ending, or the last 3 minutes. But
you did? Okay.
Please keep recapping.
Awesome. Then he sees like a bunch of people burning piles of tires because they're just like taking all the tires just in case and burning them just in case they're the animated tire. The cops find the tire watching it like NASCAR on the TV at the house with like a dead person on the floor. He's just watching their TV.
That's actually really brilliant. Like, no joke, that's amazing.
So then Chad, whoever Chad is, I'm not sure who Chad is. I think he's the cop. He kills the tire with a shotgun and hands it to the surviving man. And then a tricycle begins rolling down the road, and it is like the reincarnated version of the tire.
Mm-hmm.
And it rolls right into Hollywood, where it is going to wreak havoc, which I love.
Isn't the tricycle followed by like a new legion of tires at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great shot. I loved that.
Yeah, so fun. One art form has to be killed in order for a new art form to emerge.
So
Maybe.
let's kill all the pointless. Let's stop with all the pointless remakes and spin-offs and all that and get back to originality. Thank you, Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You suck worse than Apple.
Yes, we're gonna storm Hollywood with art.
We're not going to storm Area 51. We're going to storm Hollywood.
Yeah.
Sorry, probably an outdated joke, but you know.
So, yeah, that's kind of all I had. I love this movie. I'm going to watch it again, probably. Not in the near future, but I will watch it sometime again. Especially because it was free on Vudu.
With way too many ads.
With way too many ads about cancer. And they were like, they came at the most inconvenient times. Just like right in the middle of a scene.
I know. That's the one thing
really
with
bad.
streaming ads. It's like at least... Because that happened when I watched Elephant Man, because that was also free. It wasn't on Amazon. It was on, like, some other service. I think, like, Tubi or something. The ads just came in the middle of the scene. It just pulls you out of the movie, and it's why I don't really like watching movies on TV, other than the fact that they're sped up and cropped, and, you know, cursing is cut out, and, you know, it's not... But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. It's a lot different.
It's funny that when I was really young, I didn't care. Because, like VHS was still a thing, so, like, it didn't matter if movies were cropped, and it didn't matter if you saw them on TV because you were young enough that you didn't notice. But now that I'm older, that's, like, a really big pet peeve of mine. It's like, we have widescreen TVs. Why are we still cropping movies?
Yeah.
I don't mean to bring up this example, but this is the example I think of. So TBS and TNT, they play the Star Wars movies, and they're cropped from, whatever, 235, 240 to 185. And it's like, you can't do that. Because those movies are all about, or not all about, but there's so much, you lose so much visual information.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy that loves VHS and the aesthetic of VHS. Like, that's different, because we still have the widescreen versions available. If you have it on TV, you shouldn't crop a movie or speed it up to get more commercial time slots in, because it just kind of dampers the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is a bad example because they're playing the special editions, but that's different argument. I'm just talking about, like, they do that with other movies too. So, like, but Star Wars is the prime example because that's just what I think of because they're on TV a lot.
I think, speaking of movies that are on TV a lot, 23 years ago, the Titanic won 11 Oscars at the 70th Academy Awards. And it was nominated for 14 and won 11. That's crazy.
It's tied for the most wins with Return of the King and Ben-Hur, I believe.
Yes, Ben-Hur.
Which I haven't seen either of those movies. I was just telling a friend of mine that I really want to see Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments, and I saw them, like, on DVD at Dollar General for really cheap, and I wish I had grabbed that, and maybe I'll go and get it if they still have it. But, like, they're both, like, 4-hour movies, but they're both classics that I want to see, so, like, maybe I'll just bite the bullet and buy it, and then just, like, watch them sometime.
What's Ben-Hur about?
It's the chariot race movie.
Like Greek?
Yeah, like Greek. Like it's like
or Roman or whatever.
Yeah, one of them. One of those two.
One of them. Oh,
Not
okay.
I
don't know anything about that movie.
Yeah. Also, like Gone with the Wind and Lawrence of Arabia, just classic 4-hour movies that I haven't seen because they're 4 flipping hours. Oh, also
So
Two
long.
Towers and Return of the King. Those are also 4 hours, extended cut wise. So, yeah.
You just got to be in the right mindset. You know, you got to set aside a time and be like, okay, today I'm going to go get popcorn and I'm going to come home and I'm going to snuggle in. I'm going to watch a 4-hour movie.
Or you watch 2 hours one night and then at the intermission you watch the second half tomorrow.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Because older movies have intermissions, so.
I do wish we had intermissions.
I do too.
Because I always need more popcorn and more water, and I always need to go to the bathroom.
Yep. I wish theaters still did overtures and intermissions. Watching Star Trek: The Motion Picture the first Star Trek was so great because it starts with an overture and the score was just so lovely, and I'm like, man, I wish more movies did that.
When was that one made?
1979. I think it was one of the last. I think it was one of the last movies to have an overture.
Yeah, that seems pretty late.
I mean, there's no intermission because it's like a 2-hour movie.
Oh, okay.
But there's still an overture, and it's Jerry Goldsmith, so it's absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what else we watched this week?
Yes. Would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go. I watched The Most Dangerous Game from 1932.
I read that in high school.
Yeah, we read it too, and then we watched the movie in high school.
I think we were going to, and then we ended up and didn't because we ran out of time or something.
Aw, man. It's good. It's on HBO. It gave me nightmares in high school because I think I was reading The Hunger Games at the same time, and it was all about just like people murdering people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so many nightmares. It's actually pretty scary. But it's only like 50 minutes or something. So it's just like a fun little, I wrote in my review, fun little ditty to put on every now and then. So it's enjoyable. I liked it.
Awesome.
Yeah, then today I watched, or last night and this morning, it was a 2-hour movie called, so the Oscar nominees came out this week.
Yes,
so I started looking, and I decided to watch The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is on Netflix. And I was like, none of these really seem interesting to me, none of these movies, but I'm going to try to watch them anyway, just so I'm relevant. I stay relevant. So I watched this one, and it's about rioting and riots in Chicago in 1968, I believe. And there's 8 people who got in trouble for supposedly starting the riots against the police to protest the Vietnam War.
Right.
And a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And they got put on trial, and they were kind of deciding whether it was a political trial or like an actual crime trial.
Mm-hmm.
And because they didn't really do anything. So it was just kind of stupid. And the judge was absolutely ridiculous. He was just like unlike any judge you've ever seen in any TV show. He interrupted all the time and didn't know what was going on, couldn't say any of the people's names right, and he was just like unfit for court. Absolutely. But so it starts off with these people, all the Chicago 7/8 going to Chicago and talking about all the stuff they're going to do. And it's a bunch of groups of different people, leaders of different groups around the US, and they all are meeting in Chicago for the Democratic Convention. So they go there, and then all of a sudden we're in the courtroom. And I'm like, wait, what happened? And they kind of retell the story throughout the whole movie, which I didn't really like because I had no knowledge of this event before watching this movie.
Right.
And I was like, what even is going on? So they kind of recount the whole story as the movie goes on, and they're in the trial with like flashbacks and stuff.
So it's like non-linear in a way?
Yeah. But it's, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it because of that, So yeah, we're talking about like what Hollywood comes out with and influences people with. And it's like this whole past year with all of the Black Lives Matter protests and riots and everything, I think that this spurred this movie. Everyone's like, oh, it's a perfect time to make this movie because the same stuff is going on in America, which I don't like to watch a movie about that kind of stuff because I want to escape. And this just kind of makes me depressed about our world and America. And it makes me kind of hate America. So
yep, I feel you.
Yeah. But it was a good movie. The ending was really moving.
That's why we watch movies about killer tires.
Exactly. See, I just find that way more entertaining.
Yeah. And split personalities and dreams and a gentleman in a decrepit cave talking about squirt.
Yes, exactly.
No, that was really cool because I've heard about that movie, but I felt like it wasn't a movie that I would really get a lot out of other than like respect for the event, which is good. But I feel like it's a movie that I either wouldn't really enjoy or it'd be really hard to sit through just for my own personal tastes. But I really love the way you described it because you're like, this is really like fascinating and it really ties into what's going on right now. But at the same time, movies are escapism, and that's kind of rough for you to handle, and for me too. So, solid review, 10 out of 10.
Thank you. And that's all I watched this week.
Okay, well, I watched quite a bit this week. And the week and a half, whatever. So I initially didn't really care to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League that was coming out, and I'm sure I don't need to explain what that is. Do you know what that is?
Well, so there. No.
Sorry, Maddie. Okay, I'll explain. So Marvel was doing their cinematic universe, and they had come out with Captain America: Civil War, and then they were doing Infinity War and Endgame, which at the time was Part 1 and Part 2. So then DC was like, hey, we can do that too. We're going to throw our hat in the ring. So they jumped the gun, and their second movie was their Civil War, which was Batman vs. Superman. And then that movie was cut down a little bit, and the theatrical cut was a mess. And then it didn't get the best reception. And then they're like, okay, well, we have to recontextualize Justice League, which was the next movie they were going to do. They were going to do Justice League Part 1 and 2. So then Zack Snyder, who directed both of them and Man of Steel, like he had to step away because he had a family tragedy. His daughter died. So then he stepped away from the movie, and then they brought in Joss Whedon to finish the movie, and it was cut. The movie was literally cut down from 4 hours to 2 hours, and then he like reshot a bunch of scenes, and then the movie didn't do well. So then people were saying, release the Snyder Cut. That was hashtagging on Twitter and everywhere because people wanted to see the original version. So then that was finally finished now, and it came out. And which is great, but what I want to see is the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever and the Sidney J. Fury cut of Superman 4. So release those, please, Warner Brothers, especially the Schumacher
Start the
cut.
hashtag. Trend
I did. I've been tweeting it and letterboxing it, and I don't know if Letterboxd does hashtags, but I've been doing that because I love Batman Forever. Screw it, I love that movie, and I want to see the Joel Schumacher cut because the deleted scenes add so much weight to that movie. But also that's like really nostalgic movie for me. But anyway, to revisit, Wilton and I watched. First, we watched Man of Steel, which I feel very mixed on. And I'm not really gonna go into it because I kind of got it all out in my Letterboxd review, which I'll be posting. But basically, that movie makes character choices, and the script is written in a way that the structure doesn't really gel 100%, and the character choices don't really work for me personally. I really don't like how they handled Jonathan Clark's Earth Dad, his character. Even though I love Kevin Costner, I don't really like how they did his character because I grew up with the original Christopher Reeve movies, and I watched Smallville in high school, so I had this perception of his character. And then in this new movie, they do it differently and in a way that I don't really care for. And they also, Henry Cavill does a good job, but I don't think they really handled Clark and Superman's character in the best way. There's some choices that are made that I'm like, there's choices that I love, and then there's choices where I'm like, that to me doesn't feel like Superman.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna delve into that. And then we watched Batman vs Superman, and we watched the extended cut, which is called the Ultimate Cut. And it's a half hour longer, so it's 3 hours long, which is long, but not as long as the Snyder Cut.
Oh God.
And again, it's a movie that I have respect for, although it has quite a few issues that prevent me from being enamored with it, but it still has a lot of good things in it. And the theatrical cut is just a mess of a movie, and don't watch it. I mean, you don't have to watch any of these movies, but don't watch the theatrical cut because it's an edited, jumbled mess.
Oh God.
And then it got a lot of negative feedback, which which makes sense. And then we watched the Snyder Cut. It's 4 hours long, so I watched it in 2 sittings, and even then it still felt long. I liked it. It's definitely the best of the 3. I don't think it needed to be 4 hours, but then there's nothing you could really cut except maybe trim a few scenes down. It's leaps and bounds better than the theatrical cut, which I only saw once in theaters for Justice League. And it's a movie that I'm glad it's made, but now that it is made, it's more like I don't dislike Zack Snyder anymore. I actually have a pretty huge amount of respect for him and for the movies that he wanted to make after watching his trilogy. I hope they do more, but I don't know if they will, because it's, they kind of changed course after the way they handled it before and how the reception they got for the theatrical cuts of the other movies. But what this movie really did for me was great. Now let's go see the other director's cuts that need to come out, like Joel Schumacher's director's cut for Batman Forever. Do that to honor his legacy. Does that exist? It does exist. It's in a vault somewhere, but Warner Brothers is like, we're not going to release it. And I'm like, you said the same thing about the Snyder Cut, so just do it. Just do it. And also release the cut of Superman 4. Release the movie that Christopher Reeve had a hand in writing as a send off to his character. I mean, it's a butchered mess and it's depressing, but release a cut of that. Anyway, so watching the Snyder Cut, it was a good experience. I'm glad I saw it. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but I'm glad that he got to realize his vision and make his movie. And at the end he dedicated it for his daughter, and that was really a really moving
That's
gesture.
horrible.
Yeah, because she actually killed herself. She committed suicide.
Oh gosh.
So then he stepped down from the movie, and then the studio was really impatient, and they're like, well, we're just gonna bring on somebody else to finish her movie, and then it
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck those people.
Yeah, so my respect for him just really like amped up a lot, and I'm like, even if I don't like all the choices you've made, and I'm not huge on some of your visual choices, I still do have respect for him now, which I didn't before. So because I just viewed the movies, not the behind the scenes stuff. Like I just viewed it as like, oh, Man of Steel I have problems with, and Batman vs Superman's a jumbled mess that doesn't know what it wants to be. And then because I only saw the theatrical cut once in 2016 when I wasn't, I didn't appreciate movies. I mean, I did.
But you've grown since then.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
My love of film has developed. Also, being in a Batman mode, I'm planning to watch more of his animated features because I've heard those are really good, and they're really short too. They're like 70 minutes or shorter. So I'm going to try and watch a few of those on HBO.
Are they're all Batman?
Yeah, there's a lot of This is totally separate. Sorry, this is totally separate. But there's a lot of animated Batman movies like Year One and Gotham Knight and Return of the Joker and Dark Knight Returns, and I really want to watch those.
And there's Zack Snyder?
No, they're not. I'm sorry, they're completely separate. They're not Zack Snyder. They're just Batman animated features.
Oh, okay.
So totally separate, but still the same character.
Gotcha.
Not the same version of the character. You know what I mean? It's confusing.
There's so many different versions. I can't keep track.
It's so much. So if you want to, just check out my Letterboxd reviews, which I guess I might need to link those because I don't know, but my profile is Jake Atreides, so go look at that. You can find me because I have a list of film therapy of all the movies that we watched. So.
Oh yeah, I need to do that too.
Oh no, I mean I'll send you the list and you can just like rate all the movies if you want to.
Awesome.
So then I went and saw a very dear friend of mine, and we watched a couple things, and one of the things we watched was Howl's Moving Castle, which I had not seen in probably about 5 years, I would say. And the first time I saw it, I liked it, but I wasn't really enamored with it. It was my least favorite Miyazaki movie. And watching it again, I still think it's my least favorite of his, but it's still a really good movie. It's really beautiful. It's really powerful, of course. It's a very moving movie, and I just want to live in a Miyazaki movie. Like why can't I do that? Like, can I just go live in I guess any Studio Ghibli movie, but especially Miyazaki. Mm-hmm. It's so great. So that was really fun to revisit that because I've been wanting to watch that movie for a very long time. Rewatch it, and I got a new perspective on. So this is like new perspective for me because I got new perspective on Zack Snyder and on Howl's Moving Castle, and maybe I'll get a new perspective on Rubber in 5 years. But
yeah, come back to it.
Yeah, and then my sister is reading the Hunger Games series, and she's reading. I think she just finished Catching Fire. So I've only seen the first 2 Hunger Games movies, and I rewatched both of them. And I think we're going to try and watch Mockingjay at some point, even though neither of us have seen either movie. So that would be really fun. But I meant to watch Mockingjay. I just never got around to it. Mm-hmm. But, so I hadn't seen Catching Fire since the theater in 2013, which is like 8 years ago. So the first movie is good, The Hunger Games. Actually, first off, I watched them out of order. Because my sister and I watched the first half of Catching Fire together, and then I went back and rewatched the first movie, and then I watched the ending of Catching Fire, like the second half. So, but it was okay because I'd seen them and I remembered them much more than I thought I would.
Okay, I feel like I watched Hunger Games not too long ago too.
And you mentioned it earlier, so it ties in.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The first movie's good. I like it a lot, but I really love the second one. I think it's
really
I think it improves on the first movie by so much, and I just think. Because it's just one of those sequels where it follows a lot of the same beats, but the changes that it makes are just so, that makes it more enjoyable. And I really love the new characters, and I love that it's a darker movie, and I'm really excited to see the last 2. I think the reason why I waited, because I wanted to wait for part 2 of Mockingjay to come out, and then I ended up and didn't, because I was going to see part 1, like watch it at home and then go see part 2, but then I ended up and I didn't do that for one reason or another.
Yeah.
So I actually watched a lot in the last week and a half, and that was really good. So the next thing I want to watch is animated Batman movies, and then Mockingjay.
Nice. So I'm going to continue on my path of the Oscar movies. I have a couple
Awesome.
more
You do
lined
that.
up.
You do that.
You
You
do
enjoy
that.
that. I'm not going. I will not be joining you in that.
I know. I won't be joining you in your animated Batman, so.
That's okay. When you find something that you really feel passionate about, like how I was with David Lynch, then you can take me on a journey, and that will be that'll be the reverse. Yeah. So it's been a great week and a half of rediscovering new things and rediscovering old things and getting new appreciation for them. So what are we watching next week? What do you want to watch?
Okay, so our prescription for next week is going to be Lady Bird. Came out a few years ago. 2018?
2017.
2017?
We actually saw it in theaters together. I forgot.
We did. We saw that and Call Me By Your Name. Was that in the same day or like the same week?
That was the same week.
This was one of my favorite movies when it came out. I loved it so much and I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yeah, me too. I really liked it a lot. I think it was in my, I'd have to watch it again to be sure, but I think it was in my top 10 of 2017.
Yeah. For sure mine was. I was probably my number 1 of 2017.
Which, I mean, to be clear, my top 10 of 2017 is Twin Peaks, Call Me By Your Name, Last Jedi, SAO Ordinal Scale, Baby Driver, Lady Bird, Big Sick, Guardians 2.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a lot.
but Twin Peaks is number 1 of 2017. That's my favorite movie. And then Call Me By Your Name, which is like, I don't know which I love more, because Call Me By Your Name is better throughout, but then Twin Peaks has like the most cathartic moments in cinema for me. 2 of my favorite things ever. It came out in 2017.
Good year for film.
Yeah, good year for movies. might actually be one of the best years of movies ever.
It was very good. And it was lucky for us that we were in film school and we had all those outlets of all of our friends to talk about all these movies with. It was awesome.
I think that was really the first time when I'm actively going to see as many Best Picture movies as I can, plus other movies at the same time. And it was great.
Yeah, me too. But this one is on Netflix.
Yeah.
So if you have Netflix, it's easy to watch. And you can follow us on Instagram at Film Therapy Podcast. Please rate and review us on your favorite listening
Please do.
platform. And also follow our YouTube channel, Film Therapy Podcast, or subscribe to it. That's where we're going to be posting our super special extra feature next week. This week sometime.
So if you want to check that out, please go to YouTube. Okay, hell yeah. Our top 3 most viewed videos are... At number 3, we have Session 30 Part 1, Twilight Part 1, with 60 views. At number 2, we have the Dr. Dolittle episode with Liz at 75 views. And our most viewed video is our Supergirl episode with 191 views. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
Although we have 11 subscribers, so please don't think we bought views, because we did not. I'm not being facetious or I'm not bullshitting that. We really did not buy views.
Oh no, we don't have any money to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Even if we wanted to, we don't have the money to do that. Also, check out our... Actually, I should just put this on our Instagram, our supplemental links playlist, because that's really cool. It starts off with the Elvis clip, and then
Love it.
Jonas, and then it goes all the way down to Ross's accent and Kip's wedding, and it's all the random stuff we mentioned is there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Go check it out.
That's the end of the episode. We're gonna go do some more recording.
Yeah.
We're gonna record our special feature.
And until next time, keep watching.
Keep therapizing and keep watching
therapizing.
Movies. Keep therapizing. Keep watching. Keep filming. Keep watching film. Best medium out there other than music, which film also has.